Hey guys, so we are going to be reviewing rounding. So I'm going to actually take my face off the screen and allow you guys to just look at the anchor chart as a review, and then I will jump into the lesson. Okay, so just as a quick review, you have to remember that our steps. So basically, we're given a number. The first thing that we have to do is underline the place value that we're supposed to be rounding to based on the instructions. The next step is to look at the digit next door, which is always the number behind it, not in front of it, and it will tell you what to do when we ask the question from step 3. Is it 4 or less or 5 or more? And so as you can see here, if it is 4 or less, you're going to, here we are, you're going to just let it rest, which means it stays the same. If the number is 5 or more, you raise the score or just add one more is what we typically say, add one more. And so that's just really the quick review on it. I'm going to pull up a problem and I'm going to read through it, and you can pause to see if you get it correct, or just watch me work it. So the first problem says the large square represents one whole. And as you can see, if this is our one whole, do we have the whole flat shaded? No. So we know that the answer is definitely going to be under the number 1 as the whole number. So it says that Cecily shaded the square to represent a decimal number. So the question is, what is the value of Cecily's number rounded to the nearest tenth? Rounded to the nearest tenth. So before we can round, we have to know what is the number. So we're going to mark on here and see exactly how many we have. If we have one full rod, is what we call them, shaded, that means that we have 1/10. So that's 1 long is equal to 1/10. And so we have 2 full longs, so that's another. We have another full long, which is another 1/10. So far we have 3/10. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths. So we want to add 4 hundredths to it. Or you could have simply just added and said I have 1, 2, 3 holes, not holes, 3 longs and 4 hundredths, and just put, since you know that the longs go in the tenths place, you could have written it like that. And how many hundredths do I have? 4. And so, of course, either way, we're going to get to the same answer. So with us having 34 hundredths, they want us to round that number to the nearest tenth. So if I take 0.34, which is the tenth, and follow our rules, we're supposed to underline the place value that they want us to round it to, box the number that is next door. Is 4 or less, or 5 or more? It's definitely 4 or less. So that means that this number will do what? Stay the same. So our number rounded to the nearest tenth is 0.3, or just 3/10. We do not need to do anything with the 4. You can add a 0 behind it, or you can just leave it as 3/10. Either answer will be correct. Just look for those 2 answer choices on multiple choice questions. The next problem says that Omar ran the 40-yard dash in 8 746 thousandths seconds. So that number is going to be important. What is Omar's time rounded to the nearest hundredth of a second? And again, if you are still unsure of your place value, you can always refer to your place value charts, but we always have the ones here. I'll write it at the bottom. We have our ones, our decimal, tenths, hundredths, and then thousandths. And so we have, I'm going to actually go ahead and write the number there. I have 8.746. They want us to round it to the nearest hundredths place, which means we must underline the place value they want us to round it to, hundredths place. That is where the 4 is at. And then you are supposed to box the number behind it to see if it's 4 or less or 5 or more. Is 6 4 or less or 5 or more? That's right. It is definitely 5 or more. So what does that tell us we have to do? Great. We're going to add one more to the digit that is in front. So we're going to add one more to the 4. If you do that, the 6 goes away and becomes a 0. So you have 8.7, and 4 plus 1 would give us, great, 5. Our correct answer should be 8 and 75 hundredths, since that's the place value that you are now rounding to. This is going to be a fun problem. Guys, we have to be very, very careful about what they're asking us here, okay? So the problem says that Monica uses the digits 5, 6, and 7 to make a number. Her number rounds to 6 and 6/10. Which of the following could be Monica's number? Well, the first thing that you have to be clear about is that her number rounds to 6.6, meaning that it has already been rounded. It has already been rounded. And our number goes to the tenths place, which means it was rounded to the tenths place. It was rounded to the tenths. So what you can do is take each number and underline the tenths place, look at the number behind it, and follow the same steps. First and foremost, 7 is way too big. We should know by now that A is just really, really a bad choice, but I will go through the same process. If we underline our tenths place and look at the number behind it, is 5 4 or less or 5 or more? It's definitely 5 or more, which means that your 6 would get 1 more. That number would become 7.7, which is definitely a no, right? It's definitely a no. Letter B, we have 5.67. I'm going to change colors. We have to do the same thing. Underline the tenths place. Circle or box the number behind it. Is it 4 or less or 5 or more? 7 is 5 or more, so that means that 6 would get 1 more. If we add 1 more to the 6, we have 5.7. Is that the answer choice? No. So we can't use that. Letter B is really bad as well. So let's look at letter C and letter D to see what is going to be the best answer. We have 6 and 57 hundredths. If we underline the tenths, circle the number behind it to see if it is 4 or less or 5 or more. 7 is more than 5, which means our 5 would get 1 more, and the 7 would go away. What would be that final number? Great, 6.6. That sounds like our answer, right? I'm pretty sure C is going to be correct, but let's just double check to make sure we did not make a mistake. We have 6.75. If we underline the 7, which means it's already too big, right? Great, guys. You already know that 7 is too big. Even if we round it up, 7 could have to go up to an 8. Or if it had to stay the same, it would stay 6.7. So that number is already bad, bad, bad. Our correct answer choice, ding, 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 you got it right. It is definitely letter C. So now you're going to have an opportunity over the course of today, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and to work problems that are very similar to what we just worked. For the first problem that you're going to work, review number 1 from this video and you should be fine. And then so on and so forth for Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday is going to be our review, and then on Friday you're going to have your big test over this that consists of 3 questions. But it's really important that you watch our videos from this week, and then if you have any questions, you contact me via Class Dojo or send me messages on any other platform that you know that you can reach me. All right, guys, good luck this week. Let me know if you need any help.